Hey everyone! So I tried to record a video like this yesterday and it was insane. I had Acadia climbing on my lap every 2 seconds and stealing Basin's toys and slapping me in the face. Not really slapping me, but like not being gentle either. And just a million interruptions. Like right now. By the cat. Like it's literally a kid or animal at all times. But although I should have posted that, I frustratingly deleted it because when you do this every single day, all day long, it works on your patience a little bit. So anyways, I'm going to try to keep this one a little shorter because I know that there will be more interruptions. And I wanted to first start with this video will be about homeschooling, just a very short, like why I do it, kind of our schedule, a little bit about our like chore charts, and then I'm gonna keep it at that. I will share later videos about like what sort of like materials we use and things like that, and I'll also allow people to ask me questions and see what I can come up with. I'm not an expert. I didn't do this because I thought I could do better than a teacher. I started homeschooling because we were moving a lot and I didn't want Vera to go from school to school to school like I did when I was little. It was really hard on me and I didn't want her to do that too. So I homeschooled with the idea that we will do this until we find like where we're going to be and where we're going to stay. But with her anxiety when she was younger and just some other factors in it, it worked out really well. Like she was thriving and growing and moving past some of the issues we were having. So it ended up working so well that we're like, well, let's just keep doing this then. We started off with easy peasy online curriculum and we have never changed it. We love it. It's free. It's all online. You can either print all the materials off yourself for free or you can purchase the workbooks that are printed off for you. And at first I was printing everything out myself and then I was like, well, these workbooks are like $7 each. So I was like, there's probably not much difference that I'm saving by printing it off myself with the price of ink and paper. So you can go on to their online store and pay like $7 for each workbook. And I only get the math and the language for Vera because those are the ones we use the most. Science and everything else is online and we just haven't found the need for it yet. We might change at some point and get more. I'm already looking into this coming year and I'm excited to order our workbooks. Basin started with his preschool workbook this past school year and has completed it already. So we might, even though he's only 4.5, we might order the kindergarten things and start that and just see how he does with it. If he doesn't do well or he's not interested, we'll totally try again in another few months. Like it's not a big deal. He's only 4.5. I'm not worried about it. It's just that sometimes he likes to be involved when Vera is doing her stuff. So I like to have something for him to do, whether it be workbooks, which I know isn't for everyone. Not all kids like them, and that's totally fine. Especially at this age, it's mostly play-based anyways. But if he's not interested in the worksheets or workbooks for the day, I usually get out some sort of activity, whether it be Play-Doh, coloring, blocks, cars. We have lots of little other activities that I can share later on that keep him busy but also learning at the same time, and also allows Vera to get some things done or me to sit next to her and help her with things without being constantly interrupted. Although it happens, it absolutely happens and it's hard, but that's kind of part of it when you have multiple children. Homeschooling is different than what everyone is doing right now during this pandemic. A typical homeschool day, you can go out, you can go to places, you can go to activities, you can go to the museum, you can go to the zoo, You can do co-ops, which is like a group of people, and each person has like a different subject that they teach. So we did one a few years ago where one mom did science, one mom did taught Chinese, and I was in charge of the literature part. So we read Because of Winn-Dixie, and then we did some discussion with the kids and some activities to go along with it, and it was so fun. So like what you're doing now is hard. It's really hard. You were thrown into this not prepared, and it's not an accurate representation of what homeschooling is. So I mean, I don't know what your plans are after the virus is gone or whatever, and school returns. I don't know if your plans are to continue homeschooling. If that is your choice, please reach out. I would love to chat with you. Again, I'm no expert. I just know what has worked for us and what hasn't. And I feel like we have a good groove right now. But that could change tomorrow because it's life, and that's how it goes. Hazen, please stop. That's too loud. Anyway, so if you do continue, let me know. I can try to help as much as I can. If you don't and they go to public school, totally cool too. We have nothing against public schools. I think teachers are superheroes and they do an amazing job. This is just what works for our family right now. And I really enjoy being able to choose like the curriculum, what we do each day. The state we live in is Massachusetts, and we do have rules. We have to report at the end of the year. And I've been meeting with the superintendent. I know that is controversial. Some people think that it's not their right to to require us to meet with them. But so far I've met with our superintendent and it's been fine. I've done it because I feel like creating a good relationship with him was wise in case we decide later to put her in activities, like certain activities, because it is up to the school whether they will allow homeschoolers to participate in, let's say, extracurricular activities. Anyway, so I just wanted to create a good relationship, and so far it's been great. And at the end of the year, what I report to them is some of her work in each subject at the beginning of the year, middle, and end. And I actually print it out for myself too and keep it in her portfolio. So later on she can look back, and I'll do this for Vazen too eventually, but we've got a while still. But it'll be fun to look back and see some of her work that maybe she forgot about. I just like take pictures of it and include it in a document, print it out, put it in her binder, and year after year I do the same thing. So here's an example of how I do our schedule. We are, wow. We're flexible. Like we have a general schedule, but we don't feel like we have to do it at the same time every day. Like things happen. Our mornings don't always start well. Sometimes we have attitudes. Sometimes we didn't sleep well enough and we have to start a little later. Or sometimes we wake up in an excellent mood and Vera will start literally right after breakfast. Today and yesterday she started school both times without any prompting from me, which I can't imagine that it's like that for everyone, and I guarantee it won't be like that for Vazen. But for now we've left out and she is pretty self-motivated. We have our days where it's rough, and that totally makes sense too. That's another way we're flexible, is if we're having like the worst day ever and we're all cranky and things aren't happening, and we'll stop. We'll take brain breaks. We'll stop. We'll do some exercise, do some yoga, play with siblings, do some chores. Like, it doesn't have to be like right. It doesn't have to be exactly how I write it down. This is just a general idea. So I will write on her dry erase board the subjects that she covers for the day, and her curriculum actually lists it out too, so I don't actually need to do this. It's just a nice visual, but I'll write like the subjects. She can cross them off if she wants to, or it just gives her a little visual of what's coming next. And it changes each day. Sometimes I'll write like, make sure you do your chores first, or just simple things like that. And I do, so our kids all wake up by 6:30 every day. Doesn't matter what time they go to bed. They could go to bed at midnight, still wake up by 6:30 the next day. So we usually get an early start on things. So this may differ from what you do because a lot of children sleep later than 6:30 in the morning. So we have breakfast and then usually start right into school after that, unless there are some chores that really need to be done before then, like feeding the animals. That needs to be done before school. Getting dressed, I encourage them to get dressed every single day, make their beds, make sure the rooms are tidy. We just do a lot better when all those things are done, and that goes the same for me. Like if I'm dressed and ready, our beds are made, and the room is tidy, clothes are put away. We just feel so much better. The day starts much better. It's not a foolproof plan, but it works for us. And so then we do have chore charts. I even have one for myself. I put them on index cards and I laminated them so that we can cross them off with a marker each day. For the kids, I have their chores, and then right next to them, when they complete them, they earn a certain amount of minutes for screen time. We don't pay them for chores because I feel it's important that they also participate in cleaning and tidying up and doing the things that they're going to have to do in life anyways. What we would pay them for is something like substantial, like, oh, you helped clean out the car, or you did like something above and beyond, or you did like a really exceptional job at that today. Then we might give them, $1 or $2 for them to save up, but we don't pay them for regular chores. I also have a daily schedule card. I haven't been using these lately. We're off our game, and it's not because of the pandemic. I don't know why. We just go through these phases where we do really well for a while and stay consistent, and then sometimes we don't. And I think that's pretty normal too. That's kind of how life goes. So anyways, some things I have for like Vazen's chore chart. I'll give you an example. He has to shut all of his stuff off in his room. He has a music thing that plays at night, and sometimes the dehumidifier. He has to shut those off in the morning. Get dressed, clean your room. Our rooms are usually cleaned at night. Like before they go to bed, I usually have them pick up. So cleaning room is kind of like an extra bonus, or in case they got something else out. Clean your room. He helps clean the tables off. I have this nifty Norwex rags. I soak it with water and he wipes off the table. He doesn't do the best job, so sometimes I have to go behind him and do it also. I'm assuming that will get better with age. But I let him do it anyways because it gives him something to feel accomplished with. He loves cleaning the windows, like the patio door. We have another Norwex cloth. No, I don't sell Norwex, but I do have some of the rags, and they're excellent. He cleans off the windows. He loves doing that. So that's another one. Clean appliances, same thing, same rag, just wipes them off. Clean up toys, that's a huge one. He goes through phases of where he's really good at it, and sometimes he's really not. We're in a rut right now where he just does not want to clean up, or he gets distracted easily. So a timer helps with that. Like I'll tell Alexa, I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want her to go off right now. I'll tell her to set a timer for 5 minutes or whatever. And sometimes it helps if I start with him, like, oh, here you go, here's this toy, can you go put this back in the bin? That usually helps. Just like everything else, it's not foolproof. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the timer definitely, and by the time the timer is done, we go through this period of time where we have the laundry basket, and any toys that are not picked up go into toy jail. And they stay there for the rest of the day or the rest of the week, depending on how their attitudes have been about cleaning up. And then they earn them back by doing certain chores or adjusting their moods or whatever. Just another idea. You don't have to do that. Don't have to agree. Totally fine. Some more of his is Cricket. Our dog gets a bone that brushes her teeth every day, so he does that. And he gets time for playing nicely with his siblings. No joke. If I catch him doing something extra nice, I'll be like, oh, you're doing a great job. Let me mark that off your chore chart, or have him mark it off because he's doing a great job. Usually encourages him to do well with that. And for Vera is make her bed, brush her hair, get dressed, brush her teeth, feed the animals, help with dinner dishes, clean up toys. We often try to help or have her help us with dinner Vazen loves to bake too, so we also incorporate that in there. She also gets points for playing nicely with siblings. She cleans a litter box. What a champ. Help with laundry, clean her room, and I even reward her minutes for drinking enough water in a day, because that's how I roll. So that's their tour charts. For my tour chart, I also want to add minutes to mine, like I did this, so 5 minutes of Facebook or whatever. I haven't done that yet. I haven't been skilled enough to keep up with it, but that's one of my goals. And I keep these cards where we can easily get to them, closed pinned somewhere where we can see them, and we're reminded of them often. Again, I'm not very consistent with them. That's something we'll be working on, is trying to be more consistent with our chore stuff. Another helpful tip is a planner. This year, our planner has not been used very often, but I still write almost every single day some of the things that I want to accomplish, because seeing it written down really helps me. It also has a calendar in the front in the start of each month. That's helpful for appointments and things. But I write down a list every day. Even if it's even for the simplest task, I will write it down so that I can cross it off. It helps me feel accomplished. It gives me a visual of what I need to do, and if I don't get it done that day, I carry it on to the next day and rewrite it. Those are the tips for that. Another handy thing that I do is I get these little carrying baskets. I put their workbooks in the big part right here, and Vera's schedule dry erase board, and she can also use the back to do extra math or extra scrap paper, or when she's listening to her audiobook, sometimes she likes to sketch. Also in there I usually have, these have been ransacked. I don't know what the kids did with them, but I have certain books in there, and I found these really cool craft trays at Target last year. And what you do is you put all their supplies in it. Say if you're working with glitter, don't work with glitter, it's the worst idea ever. I'm just kidding, I use it sometimes. But glitter, pom-poms, scissors, glue, put it all in the tray, and it keeps it from rolling off the table. It keeps everything in one spot, so they use it, put it back in it, right next to whatever they're doing. It's amazing. Also in this little caddy, I usually have a cup with their crayons and utensils. In some of them I have their flashcards. It's just a handy, they just grab it in the morning before doing school, set it on the table. Sometimes I even set everything out. We do our school stuff at the dining room table because we hardly use it for any other reason, and it works out well. It gives plenty of space. We clean it all up at the end of the school day and put it away. So then it's out of our sight. We can then use it for dinner if we want, but we usually eat in the kitchen. Another thing I was going to say is that we don't spend all day on school. Vera usually starts around 8:30 or 9 and is done by lunch almost every single day, unless there's something she's particularly struggling with, or if we have a project that takes a little bit longer. But it doesn't, our day is not filled with school. We then go outside, we do things out there, we try to incorporate school into whatever we're doing, like baking, fractions, math, all of that stuff. Everything can be school related if you make it that way. And we also do all year long school, and it sounds intimidating, but what it really is that we do the curriculum for the 180 days, just like a normal school year, and then during the summer, we focus on the things that she had a hard time with, or the things that she didn't grasp yet. We do extra practice in those areas. So I'm packing away all of their stuff here soon and keeping out only a workbook for Vazen and then some practice things for Vera. I'm putting the regular school stuff away, we're ending the year, and then we'll start our summer mode, which usually includes, like I said, some things that she struggled in and needs extra practice in, and then we do a lot of nature studying. We do a lot of hikes, try to identify plants, animals, things like that, We do most of our workbooks outside at this point because it's nicer out. So while we do all year school, we're not doing the actual curriculum all year. So I think that covers like our day. It's basically chores. We do a few cleanups too a day, like we'll do a cleanup before lunch and a cleanup before dinner. So every toy that's on the floor needs to be cleaned up before lunch and before dinner. And that makes it to where the next day we start the day and we don't have to start the day with cleaning. Sometimes I'll have a few dishes to do in the morning, but that's about it. We have a basement, main floor, and upstairs, and so that's 3 floors to clean every day. And I keep it fairly clean because we have a good system going on. It's not super concise, like I said, I have the chore chart, but I also just do things as they're needed to be done. Like right now the tables are gross, so I will have Vazen come in here soon and help me wash the tables. We'll need to vacuum today. I have laundry going. Just the normal everyday things. And then if it works better for you, you can also do like Monday do these chores, Tuesday do these house things, Wednesday do these house things. And I know it's much harder too if you work outside the home. You have less time to plan this out, less time to execute it. So you just kind of have to find your own groove and try out different things. Like I'm always changing things up because what worked last month doesn't work this month, and you just have to be flexible, and you have to have grace. Like if your house is messy, that happens sometimes. It's gonna be okay. Have everyone pitch in and help. I know that's sounds easier than what it really is, but we try our best to have everyone have a part in keeping it clean. It's important to me. I think it's safer because we're not all tripping on toys and falling. It helps all of our attitudes. Like it's just when it's less messy, we're just in a better mood usually. Yeah, I think that's about it. Like I said in some other videos, maybe I'll include like the supplies we use each day. Maybe I can show you some of the books that we use. But for the most part, that's in a nutshell, almost 23 minutes worth. So if you made it through this whole video, you're amazing. Good luck.